Hello, Stoney fam. Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever you are. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you again for coming and spending your time listening. I really do appreciate you guys. But yeah, so what I want to talk about today is, I got a bunch of things that I want to talk about, so bear with me, guys. But right now, I definitely need to say this because I feel like I will say I'm glad that a bunch of people are also talking about this, but I feel like not enough is being done about the situation. I understand there's a lot of complexities surrounding the situation, and there are now politics and being brought in and other things regarding this, but I think as a whole, what's going on in society, in the country, whatever, even outside of ours, it's just not, there's a lot of things that are not okay. With what I want to talk about that's not okay is the fact that our regulations and our laws about cannabis are not reflected the same everywhere. I find it just not even just disgusting, but it angers me when I have to read about people being wrongfully detained or imprisoned, whatever you want to call it, for cannabis. It's a plant at the end of the day. Unless they had killed someone or they did something that, is harmful to others, I don't see what consuming a plant is really doing to anybody else. I don't see how that's affecting anyone else. Why do they care? I don't get it. But I'm not in control of all these things, and it just sucks. It sucks when you have to read about things that are really just upsetting to see that a young person who is, made a mistake is going to pay for that mistake for a very long time for something that is so minuscule in many areas of the world, and for it to particularly not be okay in this place, in this part of the world, it sucks. It is what it is, but at the same time, it shouldn't be. So I do want to say that I get that we have the laws that we do, and I follow them still, of course, but I don't agree with a lot of them. I think that it should be legal everywhere. I'm thankful and grateful that where I am, that it is. Of course, what I'm talking about right now definitely is pertaining to this person that I didn't know anything about. Actually, I'm not really into the sports realm whatsoever. I don't really know stuff about that. But when I saw that this person was being charged with what she was being charged with and being sentenced to 9 or 9.5 years in prison for having a dab pen, I think that is beyond ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous. I think it was a dab pen, or it was, I think, less than a gram of concentrate. Regardless, that is not the amount that where we're at here, where I am in Massachusetts, would be considered illegal whatsoever. And in a bunch of other places it wouldn't be. But of course, where she was in Russia, it was not okay. So, of course, anybody besides her, we don't know exactly what happened because we were not there to really know if it was intended to be brought in there or not, to be brought there with her or not. But either way, I think none of that matters. I think that what matters is it shouldn't be penalized that much. But of course, that is not something that we have control over. So, at least with enough people talking about it and talking about just things that are going on that we're not okay with, that we want to have change in the world regarding cannabis, especially right now. Thankfully, when talking about all these things, personally speaking, I did not really ever have to go through any criminal charges or anything like that regarding cannabis, but I've had friends that have, and it's horrible. It's wrong. I've dealt with similar things, though, when I was in school. I was in high school at this time. I think I was about in 9th grade, almost in 10th grade. And I used to smoke at this time all the time. Not very often would I go to school that high because I had pretty bad anxiety and I was afraid people would know. But we've all done it, I think. Whatever. I have. I'm not going to deny it. I was pretty high, half the time I go to school. Whatever. At this period, though, in this particular time, I was not. This was at the point in time where I was not comfortable enough to do that yet. So I was not doing that. And I had one of my friends over the night before. We were smoking, hanging out, having a sleepover, and then we planned to go to school the next morning, which we did. And we didn't even smoke that morning either. We'd just been really kind of groggy from the night before and then went to school. I didn't have anything on me, neither did my friend. We just went to school. Well, I found out years later how they were even notified, how the school found out anyway. But before I get to that, I will tell you guys. We go to school. I'm there for, I want to say like, it was like 20 minutes past in my first class after like the first like bell rang and having to do like, the Pledge of Allegiance, all that. And like the class changes. Like it was literally, I think, like 20 minutes into being in school. And then my friend got called down first to the office and then me. We both were separated, brought into the office, asked a couple questions. If I think I remember correctly, this was a very long time ago, so bear with me. And I'm also baked. But yeah, it was a very long time ago. And we're in the office. I'm in the office with, my vice principal at the time. And then he escorts me over to the nurse's office. They take my backpack before then, and they're going through all my stuff. They don't say anything when they come back and bring me back my bag, so I didn't know if they had found anything or didn't. I kind of knew, though, that they shouldn't have because I didn't have anything on me. But I was still kind of waking up. I'm pretty sure, I had no idea if maybe I had, something on me, like a lighter or whatever. Because sometimes I'd be stupid and forget to put those away, and I'd have that in my bag with me. Like a lighter or whatever. Or my cigarettes, because at the time I smoked cigarettes. No, not at that point yet, actually. I think I did a year later. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Anyway, the nurse takes her finger and moves it across my eyeballs, and I'm hysterical at this point because I'm being told that I'm going to get in all this trouble, and it was just a bunch of stuff going on at once. It was a lot of either not speaking to me, not saying anything, and not answering any of my questions and explaining what the hell was going on, or it was just telling me that I'm in trouble. And eventually, at the end of it, I was. I was suspended and told that I was going to be drug tested, which I felt was bullshit because I wasn't even high at the time and I didn't have anything on me. And neither did my friend. I had to do one drug test. My friend, unfortunately, had to do, I think, 2 or 3. It was, put onto my academic record that I was suspended. Do I know what it says for? I don't know, but that sucked. I wasn't even high, so it really sucked that that's one, that I was being told that I was doing something that I wasn't, and they had no really justifying proof to even pull out of their ass and use anyway. Just a fucking weird finger test, which I don't understand how moving your finger in front of somebody's eyeballs and watching them move is really going to decipher if they're stoned or not, especially if their eyes are already red from crying and they're hysterical at that moment. I don't think you're going to get a proper reading. And not even just with this story alone, I've had some pretty fucked up experiences at my old school, mostly during high school, but there were kind of some iffy things that happened around middle school time too. But yeah, so that's how they handle things, and that's how some schools also handle things, and I think that's just bullshit. I do think, though, some people might not agree with what I'm going to say, but I think, of course, not just saying this because, I work in the industry and, I legally have to support this, but I also, in my morals, support this idea. I don't think children should start smoking pot. I think they should be a little bit older, 18 and older. Any younger, I feel like I started somewhat a little bit too young, and I didn't appreciate it or understand it at all. I didn't know anything that I know now, of course. And back then, we didn't really have some of the things that we have now to know this knowledge, but still, I do wish that I had started a little bit later than I did. But I'll never go back. I would never take it back. I don't regret anything regarding that, because if it wasn't for it, I don't know if I'd be who I am today. So, yeah, I just don't think that it should be, punishments like that should happen when you don't have enough proof. If maybe I was high and then had proof of it, then that's another story, whatever. That's what they gotta do. But, yeah. So that was a really stupid little story I wanted to share with you guys. But, yeah. Now, before I get to what else I wanted to talk about, I do want to say, kind of piggybacking on what I had just said before about how when I was younger, I'd have sometimes too much anxiety to smoke at school or wherever in public, whatever I was doing. Like I've said before in I think a couple of other episodes, or just one episode, I have said it does help me now. And now that I understand what I'm consuming, it really can be beneficial for me. And it can be beneficial for a lot of other people. But I wouldn't recommend just smoking whatever, eating whatever, and not knowing what you're consuming. For many different reasons. But one of them being you don't know the exact experience you're going to get. Never do we exactly know, but it would be great to have somewhat of an idea. Everybody's different. Everybody's endocannabinoid system is different. Everybody is different, period. We are all going to have different experiences and perceptions of life and whatever. So expecting one experience that somebody else had to have the exact same one is impossible. It's impossible. You can't. So when it comes to cannabis, you cannot. But you can have something similar. You can definitely have a similar experience, but you cannot have the exact same one. So just wanted to say that before I kind of go off onto a different topic and switch gears. Before I do that, though, I'm definitely going to take a nice bong rip because it's been a very stressful week, guys. I did talk about posting a YouTube video, and a bunch of you guys were super... Sorry, I thought I was going to burp. You guys are super excited about having me posting it, and I started recording. I started editing it. I was all ready to was almost ready to post it. And when I went to go through my drafts, go through my files, it was gone. So I'm very upset about that. A couple of other folders that I had and videos that I wanted to post were also gone. So kind of set me back a bit. I'm a little bit upset. It's not going to lie. I was very upset, and now I'm just a little bit upset. But still upset nonetheless. So I'm going to smoke because that makes me feel better. That was much needed. Definitely needed to toke. It made me feel much better and more clear-headed about what I want to get into talking about. So, yeah, and before I do that, I want to tell you guys right now what I am smoking on is this really nice strain called Bubba Cheese. I'm just loving it. I'd never tried it before until now, and it is very relaxing. I feel a lot less stressed and anxious than I did even a couple minutes ago, because I started to get a little bit of anxiety, mostly because I will say that a couple days ago I was experiencing some PTSD and other things that was making it a lot harder to even want to post or record anything, but I just kind of forced myself anyway to not kind of just hibernate into this shell. But that's kind of what I meant. Not force myself to record anything. Because I will never sit in front of the camera or even start talking to you guys unless I feel like I can give 110%. Because I feel like I'll deserve that. And I don't want to put out something that isn't me. So, anyway, kind of just got off topic. But, that happens. So, what I want to talk about now, guys, is kind of related, but also, we all can kind of agree on this. There are so many people that we've either met, I've met definitely in my life, but you probably definitely have too, people that could just definitely use some marijuana in their life. And we know that they would probably benefit from it, yet they're so against it. And it's very tough too, because usually in these cases, not only are they against it, but they're strongly supportive of alcohol, or they consume a bunch of it and they love it, or they, consume other substances, and they're super against a plant that is beneficial, medicinal, isn't killing anybody, but yet love this toxic concoction of crap that just makes you volatile and violent and kills you. Don't understand it. I've never understood it. And I think I have a bias to it because growing up, I've dealt with alcoholics my entire life, whether it be family members, friends of friends. I've been around it my whole life. And if anything, it's made me want to be that person that just did not want to go down that path. I started to when I was about 15 years old, and I had something very traumatic happen to me, and ever since then, the thought of really getting drunk to the point where I can't control myself terrifies me. So I prefer not to drink at all. And if I do, it is a beverage with my food that I'm eating if I'm out to eat somewhere, or it is, there's a party going on, or it's my birthday, it's a celebration of some sort, and I will stop myself at a certain point. Because I don't want to get out of my mind where I can't control my bodily functions. I don't want to be impaired. Some people might like that. I personally do not, for many reasons, but that one being mostly, it triggers me and makes me feel worse, and can also make me a lot angry.